if I come and I open my own academy tomorrow, Mo's Academy, Ngivulala, Esanti. What is my intention? My intention is not to groom the next Pele. My intention is to eat. Because I'm going to open this academy in Santin. I'm going to say to parents, Guti, the tracksuit is 2,000 rand. The shirt is 4,000 rand. The pants are 3,000 rand. Trousers are 10,000 rand.
Yeah.
He pulls it back. Rasmus Højlund. Thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of the Diski Preview Show. It's the year 2025. I hope you had a very good festive season and enjoyed it. My name is yours truly, Mr. E, and I'm flanked by the distinguished analyst at Betfred. On my right is Mr. Mo, and I have uThisha. uThisha weDiski. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have a nice time over the festive season?
Yeah, fantastic time. It was
I
a
can
great
see
time.
you gained weight, eh?
Yeah, no, Melo be fresh.
And uThisha weDiski, you gained weight as well, bruh. You couldn't even put on your shirt like this one.
Please, we up now.
This is just the feel of how it is in the studio and things to come in this year, the year 2025. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be taking a look at the highlights of last year. What was happening? What did uThisha weDiski say? What did Mo say? Did you agree with him? Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at that in detail. You are still watching the Diski Preview Show brought to you by Betfred, and we are still here at our Betfred Santin Studios. Mo, would you like to tell the viewers something?
Yep, don't forget to check out our promotions by going to betfred.co.za and seeing what we have under the promotions page. It should be on the top left-hand corner of your screen.
I will not forget uThisha. uThisha weDiski. uThisha weDiski, what would you like to tell to what would you like to say to our viewers?
Firstly, guys, Happy New Year, and thank you for the support. We're seeing those comments. We're learning a lot from you guys, and this year we're gonna make the show even better.
Yeah.
And 80% of our viewers, unfortunately, they haven't subscribed. So if you're one of those viewers who hasn't subscribed, please go ahead and click on the subscription button and become a subscriber.
Yeah.
And then, most importantly,
Yeah.
they must never forget, like Mo always says, they mustn't be jealous.
Yeah.
Share the video.
Yeah.
Like the video.
Press the share button.
Press the comments. Let's
Yeah.
see what you got to say.
Oh, thank you very much, uThisha weDiski. That was uThisha weDiski and more there for you. I knew they always had something to say. Let's quickly get into today's show, whereby we're taking a look at some of the major highlights that we have as far in this show, as far as the Diski Preview Show Roundtable is concerned. uThisha weDiski, my major highlight for the year during the show was when you said Mamelodi Sundowns was killing South African football. Do you still stand with that?
Yes and no.
Is Mamelodi
Yes and
Sundowns
no.
still killing South African football?
Yes and no.
Yes. Okay, let's start off with this part here first.
Let's start with this part.
Yeah.
I mean, Sundowns is now investing too much.
Yeah.
On foreign coaches,
Yeah.
for the foreign players,
Yeah.
and instead of grooming our own. Those were my sentiments when we started the show.
Yeah.
But they went over to prove me wrong because they went to get on the young stars. You have the likes of Abu Khoza, who are from development. You had Abu Mabena in the scene.
Yeah, Khoza has been doing very well.
Yeah,
lately.
so as time went by,
Yeah.
they were able to fuse
Yeah.
and mix the foreign players with the local players.
local
I mean,
guys.
at one stage, Sundowns was still looking to sign foreign players, whereas they had like a list of 8 players.
Yeah.
There were rumors with Ubanbani, Unasiri has to be loaned out so that they can accommodate the foreign players. And I asked myself, why get so many foreign players when you still have your local talent playing?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at other teams now, you look at the young stars that have risen. You go to Orlando Pirates, Abom Fukeng, Abom Kota. Sundowns is doing the same thing, Abom Khoza and
Grooming
Abom
from
exactly.
the
So
development
that's what I was
structures.
fighting for.
Yeah.
To get these young players that are doing so well with MDC, groom them, make them play for the first team.
Yeah.
You also go to Abo Coach. That same thing. Do we really, is there a must which we must go get foreign coaches?
Yeah.
Like Mo said earlier on, I mean, in the previous shows,
Yeah.
we seem to be going to like Germany, we're going to the third tier leagues to get our coaches. And I always praised Urulani. I said Urulani is one of the young best coaches that we had in South Africa. We're supposed to retain him, give him that exposure. You know, he was going to do a lot for South African football. Sundowns gave Umangoba Mngiti a chance to coach. I mean, a big brand like Mamelodi Sundowns. Unfortunately, they parted ways. But I was happy ukuthi at least the locals or the South Africans were given an opportunity to display what they're capable of.
Yeah.
We're not yet there. We cannot compete with most foreign coaches. I mean, coaches from your Germany, your Spain, your England. But we're getting there slowly but surely. We're getting there. But let's not import
the
these
players.
guys. I mean, we have our own here. Umo was talking about the local Kasi games.
Yeah.
You have excellent coaches there.
I've been watching the games there. I think there's some fantastic players.
We need to be
there.
talking about things about how do we make them disciplined. Let's discipline those players so that they have a longer or a brighter future.
Yeah, hey, that's uThisha weDiski there for you, Mr. Moy, saying that what we need to do is to try and groom the youngsters instead of importing. But when this conversation started, whereby uThisha weDiski said Mamelodi Sundowns was killing South African football, from my understanding, I thought he was referring to the fact that Mamelodi Sundowns buys players from other teams, thereby weakening them. At the same time, they do not utilize them. So that's how they were killing South African football. So at the end, Mamelodi Sundowns ended up having to import, buying players at 40 million, 50 million. What's your take on that?
I mean, first of all, you have to want to improve. Obviously, because first of all, you're playing on a global stage, you're playing on the continental stage. So the league is one of the things that you're doing. It's not the main thing you're doing. So for the team to go out and you make use of their international resources and recruit players from outside, it's actually a good reflection on the quality that Sundowns has. But it's also something that the PSL maybe needs to adopt a lot more of, Because I even said last time we researched here was the more players don't leave the country, the bigger backlog we have of players sitting in our books that can't move on, that end up on the bench, that end up sour. Where we have players.
Would that affect the level of football in the country?
Of course it does. I mean, for the fact that if you look at a Bernard Parker who came back to South Africa, came back from Europe. He spent his whole career in South Africa, even went on to go play for TS Galaxy. You look at Keegan Dolly now, after he was released by Kaizer Chiefs, where did he end up going? TS Galaxy. So it looks like there's a lot more retirement homes in the PSL now than just the Sundowns, in the sense that they were just taking players and buying every big talent. But it shows you the bigger problem that we have is that teams in Africa don't want our players, Teams in Africa might not look at the CV of a player like Keegan Dolly and say, we want this guy. Maybe it's the currency issue where they might not be able to afford his services. And that's the thing where when it comes to South African football, we have a big population of footballers, but we have a very small population of exports. So if we do follow that mantra of saying we're importing too much, why do we also not discuss the fact that we're not? And we're in a country like ours where the likes of Abu McFish left the country, the likes of Abu Dr. Kumalo, Abu Chomosono, Abu Penny McCarthy, all those players went on and left the country, and they also did amazing things outside of the country. So it's a matter of now balancing that act to say we also want to contribute to global football. We also want to see the biggest names in those countries. I mean, when you look at the biggest leagues in the world, you're looking at for example England, for example. How many English players are in Liverpool starting 11? How many English players are sitting in Man City starting 11, Chelsea starting 11? Most of these teams are getting players from around the world. It's about creating a global 11 if you want to compete on a global stage. If the best goalkeepers from Tanzania, get that goalkeeper. If the best defenders from South Africa, get that defender. One thing that is a problem with South African football is that we don't have a template of what kind of player we produce, If you look at the likes of Netherlands, they've had your Johan Cruyffs, they had your Marco van Bastens, they had your Bergkamps, they had your Van Nistelrooys, they had your Klaas-Jan Huntelaars, and so forth and so on. And now the current day, they have your Cody Gakpos, goal-scoring machines. That's what they've been producing through the Ajax Academy for all these years. And even players that weren't born in the Netherlands, like the likes of your Luis Suarez, who came through the Ajax Academy, your Benny McCarthy, who also found his way into Europe via the Ajax Academy, was a striker, went on to have a stellar career. So you look at academies around the world, I mean, they all have, a signature of what they produce with players. With us in South Africa, we're very loose in what we've let go, you know what I mean? Every former player has an academy. You understand? They try to feed the big clubs. They feed the clubs where they have connections. Those players go on to go play for those clubs. If they don't get game time, they get released. Where do those players end up? You understand? So that's what I'm saying. If the population continues the way it is in terms of all these players that we all know, Kaizer Chiefs, when they turn 25, Kaizer Chiefs, he's drinking all the time. So it's one of those things. Yes, the bigger problem is that we're importing a lot
Yeah.
of skills.
Yeah.
But the issue is we're not exporting enough skills.
Yeah, exactly. And that has also gone on to affect the coaching again in South African football. I think the top 2-3 teams, which is Mamelodi Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, and Orlando Pirates, they're all being coached by foreign coaches. What does that say with the style? Doesn't that affect the style of play of South African football?
There's a lot of coaches in the lower divisions in South Africa. I mean, we can't say there's foreign coaches, you know, in the lower divisions. But the reality is that it's a matter of results must, you know.
Yeah.
Someone said when you're playing academy level, it's not really about the trophies. It's more about the skill, the
skill
teaching.
and
Once you get to the top level, it's all about the results.
Yeah.
And the question is, when you do take a South African coach and you put him in that position, I mean, Mangoba vacated the position not so long ago,
Yeah.
and it was due to results, you understand? So now, you're looking at a Rulani Mokwena. He's seen as an anomaly. You understand? You're looking at a Pito Musiman. He's seen as an anomaly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about our country, where we celebrate stars.
Yeah.
We celebrate individuals. And we don't look at how we're producing this individual again. We don't have a template for it.
Yeah.
Yes, that if someone comes and does it once, it's magic.
Yeah.
But if we do it again and again and again and again,
Yeah.
it's a science.
It's a science.
And that's why I always said about AFCON 96 that that was magic. It happened.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do it again, which means we don't have the science of it.
Yeah.
We don't have a template. You can't do it again and again and again.
Yeah.
Once you have a science or a template, like Pep Guardiola has done it at Bayern, he's done it at Barca, he's done it at Manchester City. He has a template.
Yeah.
You know, he knows how to get it, how to make it happen again and again and again and again. Can South Africa produce another Roland Mokoena?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And that's the bigger question. Can we produce another Pito Musimane?
Yeah, hey, you broke it down very nicely there. Thisha weDiski, over to you. Umo is talking about a South African template of South African football. Do you think the likes of Unabi and what's his name, Ukadoso at Mamelodi Sundowns, will they be able to make sure that those teams play the South African way?
I doubt so. I doubt. My argument again will be based on the Chiefs releasing Atazwane.
Atazwane, yeah.
Atazwane being a local boy.
Yeah.
He went and he got his young boys from MTC.
Yeah.
And the boys were doing so well. They
Yeah.
managed to play Champions League final. Unfortunately, he was released.
Yeah.
For what? For a foreign coach.
Yeah.
Yes, we do need to get those experience, those skills from overseas coaches.
Yeah.
But we also, at the same time, we need to have a perfect balance.
Yeah.
That we also need to groom our own. You speak of local talent. We're grooming a lot of local talent.
Yeah.
But again, what we're lacking discipline. Uma umo azokhuluma mhlambe ngeformula. If
Yeah.
you check South Africa, we seem to be grooming a lot of young skillful players
Yeah.
who have a lot of potential to do well. But then what happens? They're only like one season wonders.
Yeah,
You
they're
play
gone.
for one season, you disappear. You play
Yeah.
for one season, you disappear. You can even go as back as, you know, the likes of your Steve Likweleyas,
Yeah.
your Jabu Pules. Currently now you have Abo Osaling.
Yeah.
You have Abu Mfukeng.
Yeah.
If you were able to properly groom this talent and
Yeah.
nation and look after it,
Yeah.
these players would last long. And then they will actually do wonders because they do contribute a lot in football. But the problem is, in fact, a guy does so well, instead of us encouraging him, already something.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, if let's take a look at, as a case study, Mamelodi Sundowns. You know, they play the Brazilian type of football, and before they became the machine that they are right now, they to send Upito Msimane to Brazil to go and understand and see how best they can utilize the type of players that they had. For instance, you can't play helicopter football with short players. You
But
know?
you know, it's like
So when he came to South Africa, things started happening. But it took a while. I understand. It took a while. But at the end of the day, we began to see the results.
Exactly. I like for the fact that you point out which he went to Brazil. To what? To learn the Brazilian way.
Yeah.
South African football and Brazilian football is very identical.
Yeah.
But Dominatangani is skill. We have the skill as core in Brazil.
Yeah.
You know why Brazil is doing so poor lately? It's because now Brazilians have started playing their trades in the likes of England,
Yeah.
about Germany. They don't have that culture that they had before.
Yeah,
The
the
culture about
Brazilian type
Dunga,
of
the culture about
yeah.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Brazil now, Antoine in fact is Brazilian. If Brazil goes to a World Cup
Yeah.
with the players the likes of Abo Antony,
Yeah.
the likes of Abo Rickardson, do you
Yeah.
think they're capable of winning the World Cup? They're not capable of winning the World Cup anymore. Brazil was supposed to stick to the samba,
Yeah.
the Brazilian way.
The Brazilian,
Njoba
yeah.
nathi, we have our own South
Yeah.
African way.
Yeah.
The problem with the South African way, the minute you try to implement it, people are quick
Yeah.
to look at your failure.
Yeah.
Where's the
They
mistake
just
in
want
Jalangane?
results, yeah.
We look at simple things like showboating. We
Yeah.
call it showboating. In fact, if Ronaldo does that same skill
Yeah.
that is done by these local players,
Yeah.
we make a lot of noise. Hey, this one win games, this one win games. But that kind of style, if it's nurtured well and well guided,
Yeah.
it can win you games. You look at these Sundowns. As much as the Sundowns is playing European football,
Yeah.
if you look at those players, those are very skillful players.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means even though you must do the basic football,
Yeah.
you still need to have that skillful mentality and that skillful
Yeah.
ability. So manje ufuna a perfect balance.
Perfect balance, yeah. Mr. Mo, one thing that I'm going to tell you, at Mamelodi Sundowns, they don't want showboating. You just stick to what you do at the training ground.
It's not that they don't want showboating. I think
Yeah.
showboating is something that exists in football no matter where you're from. You need to understand where showboating comes from. I mean, if you think about the players that came out of Brazil at the time from the favelas and all that, it's the same as like in any case in South Africa, where you have to beat the man. You understand? If you play against somebody and you have to hit a dustbin or a stina,
Yeah.
you can't play structured football to make it happen. You have to beat the man. The only thing is, when you look at South African football, the biggest problem here is that, like I said, we don't know how to replicate it. So yes, we can get a very skillful player.
Yeah.
But how are you going to use a very skillful player? Even in England, the biggest pundits, Michael Owen, are complaining that right now football is all about athletes. You have to run fast. You have to be an
strong,
athlete. You have to
yeah.
be strong. You have
Yeah.
you have to be an athlete more than you are a footballer. So they're also starting to see that the football is dying. You know, the likes of Dennis Bergkamp, the likes of what's his name, Betfred.
Yeah,
You know, those kind of
yeah.
unique players, those unicorn players that come in with a different type of skill are no longer needed not no longer needed. They're no longer prioritized in football.
Yeah.
And that's down to the coaching, because for the longest time, football was in the hands of the footballers.
Yeah.
Instead, where coaches were basically buying the best talents to get the trophies. Now teams are buying the best coaches to get the trophies. And those coaches need you to play a certain way. And that's why if you look at the most successful team right now going into the new year, Liverpool, on the left-hand side, if they want to dial direct, play through a winger who drops down the right, cuts inside, takes
Yeah.
a shot, they'll play through Gakpo. But in that very same position, if they know that we have a very tricky left back,
Yeah.
we want to beat him
Yeah.
one-on-one,
Yeah.
then they'll play a Luis Diaz. That's something that a South African player could be able to do. But the issue is, with South African football, like we've always said, we play similar to Brazilian football. Brazilian football is not working. When can we wake up as South Africans and say we have our own South African football? And that comes from one thing and one thing only. If you have a template, you will build into that template. You will take the skillful player and say, Ntwana Umnandi, I want you here. Ekasi, there's a big culture of the number 10. Every player could take a 20 football number 10 instead. And that's why in most teams, there's a lot of things about football that now in modern day make a team. You understand? You need a commanding player. You need a player who's talking to the rest of the players. You need a player who can organize a backline. You need a player who can organize a midfield. You need a player who can link up attack from up top. You understand? You need a player. I mean, the fact that if we go right now and we maybe had a challenge and we got professional footballers and regular footballers and we're like, put it 80 yards.
Yeah.
Pinpoint 80 yards. We wouldn't be able to do that. And the thing is, the issue here is that because we come from a culture of, like I said, talent is a word that they used to love using so much. We come from a culture of a talent where players have to groom their skills from God knows where and bring it to the field. Then sit umnandi.
Yeah.
And then we fill your head with the fact that you are the best before you've achieved anything. And then by the time the player's 25 and his career is ruined, we wonder why. Instead, there's so much of it now. I mean, if you look at what Brazil is doing now, Brazil has looked at what's happening in Asia, they've looked at what's happening in the Middle East. A lot of their biggest talents are retiring back to Brazil. They even gone as far as getting about Memphis Depay to come to the Serie A in Brazil. It's because they've started to realize that we are no longer a producer of, Isamba, because these players are not coming from poor neighborhoods anymore. There's a lot of players that are coming from rich neighborhoods like Ukaka.
They watch
So now,
PlayStation.
you understand, a lot of players want to be footballers. So what they've done now is that to compete on a global scale, we need to be able to also take European players. Instead, let your skill and talent in South Africa is the reason why South African football is in the state it is.
Yeah.
Because we don't have scholars of the game. We have people who've lived through the game. If you had scholars of the game, they'd be able to tell you that, guys, the future of rugby got its scholar through Urasi Rasmus.
Yeah.
Someone who looked at the game and said, nah, science, we can solve this thing. He went to Ireland, it worked, he came back home, it's working for the Springboks.
Yeah.
In South Africa, we need that kind of person who will say, we need to produce for the position. You understand?
Yeah.
Because if I come, the last thing, if I come and I open my own academy tomorrow, Mo's Academy, ngivulala, eSandton. What is my intention? It's not to groom the next Pele. My intention is to eat. Because I'm going to open this academy in Sandton. I'm going to say to parents, Guti, the tracksuit is 2,000 rand. The shirt is 4,000 rand. The pants are 3,000 rand. Trousers are 10,000 rand.
Yeah.
You understand? So the players who are talented who come to me,
Yeah.
I can't do anything with you.
Yeah, because they're from disadvantaged families.
You understand?
Yeah.
And those who are really in football will tell you, if a player is talented, there's no need for trials.
Yeah.
They will find you because they're looking for a player like you. But the issue is that the moment umuntu has a team, but he's a professional footballer, no matter the level of where he's playing in South Africa, already in his head, he's star.
Yeah.
You understand? So to fix it, it's very simple. Let's sit down as football in South Africa. Let's say we need a regulator to say, from now on, if you have an academy, these are the standards we want.
Yeah.
We need to play one language of football. We can't rely on Sundowns' success to push Bafana Bafana.
Yeah.
We have to be able to say, we need a right back that can do this. We need a left back that can do this. We need centre backs that can do this. We need holding midfielders that can do this. I mean, look at what's happening at United. Ruben Amorim came into United. Everyone was happy, but he beat Manchester City last week. Hey. He's the best coach. He's the greatest coach. But the issue is, he came into a system with players that don't accommodate the system. You can't convert players.
Yeah.
If I'm a centre back and I've played in a 4-4-3, 4-4-2, but I back for my whole career,
Yeah.
you can't put me in a back three.
Hey, yeah, no, we hear you more. With that being said, remember we're talking about Mamelodi Sundowns killing South African football, but a lot was unpacked by my two gentlemen here. UThisha, weDiski, just one quick one. Do you still stand with your statement that you made earlier in the year that Mamelodi Sundowns was killing South African football? You answered yes. You hadn't answered no.
Yeah, I guess now I told you what I was in between.
Yeah.
I told you the yes part and
Okay.
then the no part.
Yeah.
Because I told you they went over
Yeah.
to correct
their mistakes.
and then they did the right thing.
Okay.
I listened to what
Yeah.
Mo was saying. I totally agree with Mo. I mean, if you look at East
I like
Africa,
it when you guys agree.
South Africa is producing a lot.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately with the guys at the top now. They're the ones that are killing the young boys who are passionate.
Okay.
I mean, you look at a typical example, the likes of the School of Excellence.
What about referees? How do they come into the picture here in terms of killing South African football? I know we talk about Mamelodi Sundowns. Yeah.
You have a typical example, School of Excellence. I mean, if you look at School of Excellence, School of Excellence has produced a lot of brilliant players. About Stephen Pinar are from School of Excellence. Even right now, currently, Umabena, Usabang Mabena from Sundowns, Umfukeng, is also from School of Excellence. What's happening in School of Excellence? They don't have resources. I'm not even sure what still exists right now. Or maybe, I don't know how they combining the players, where they're getting the players from. But they don't have that facility that is actually needed to groom those players. But so if we did that and actually did the right thing,
so you're actually saying that maybe we need to invest a lot into these schools of excellence, into these academies, so that we can groom quality players.
Exactly.
Quality players that will be able to
have those quality players.
Yeah.
I mean, awards are showing exactly that. Now Ron Williams, local boy, player of the year, last year, as a goalkeeper, our own local goalkeeper. Being a goalkeeper, getting player of the year, what does that mean? That same thing, Umo was speaking about number 10. Goalkeepers are getting recognition now. So, in Manje, saying I want to be a goalkeeper, because I will get recognition. Half the captains these days are goalkeepers. So, goalkeepers are being recognized now.
So where do referees fit in here in terms of killing South African football? I know we discussed that some time back.
They make the mistakes. But
I think when we had this topic here, I think there was a lot of mistakes. It was almost, you would say it was deliberate. I mean, week in, week out, so many mistakes were being done by referees, and they were costly mistakes.
Look, here's the thing, man. You must understand how social media works. Social media can make a small issue become big. And then we also quick to jump on conclusions. The minute you topic it better, we're gonna entertain it a lot. And focus on the positives. But those things have been there from long ago. Yes, they do make mistakes. You hear analysts saying, why is it those referees are favoring a special team.
A specific team.
And that specific team is playing a lot of games.
Yeah.
Obvious. The results are gonna end of the day go their way.
Their way. Yes. I think I remember some time back. I think when we were having this discussion, Mr. Sundowns, which seemed to be benefiting from those mistakes, and there was a time where Kaizer Chiefs was benefiting immensely from the mistakes of referees. It looks like it's something that is, keeps on coming up and again, year in, year out.
I think the most important thing is that we need to bring down the borders when it comes to football. I will say that South African football is failing the referees. More than the referees are failing South African football.
Yeah.
And the reason for this is that how is the lifestyle of a referee who's reffing games Ekasi, who's reffing games in the lower divisions under the PSL? Do you understand? Where the PSL itself, if you're a referee, how many games do you have a season to make your money? How much money is it per game? How are you surviving on that salary? People don't actually take that into account. Because a lot of people look at the referee as the guy who must be objective. But how do you become objective in a place where we're no lambi? You understand? If you are coming right now,
surely I think players earn more than the referees.
Exactly, by far. And now at the same time, if you look at the referees in South African football in context, many of them are former players. More of them are, wannabe coaches. They're also people who fell in love with the game. They didn't just wake up and sing Funu Ref. It was an opportunity that was presented to them. Some of them are teachers. Yes, and some of them have a full-time job to sustain this thing on the side. Now, that's what I'm saying. Let's leave the referees in the PSL for a second alone. What's happening with the referees at the lower divisions? If you're going to give that referee 800 rand a game, what's going to stop him from saying, we're now Mbonisi FC or uThisha FC? Among 5,000 rand, you will win this game guaranteed. You understand? Next thing, in that very same game we're watching, he goes and the player falls in your box.
Penalty.
In my box, I mean. And then he blows for a corner, then he blows for a free kick, then he blows for an indirect free kick, and then he points to the other side, and it's a penalty that side for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Penalty on the side.
The things that are happening in the lower divisions of South African football with the referees will shock you. But the only reason why they're happening is that there's no guarantee that these guys are getting enough for them to eat. So mama yenza lento ukuthi bakayi corner ne free kick ne all at the same time. It's because of the standard of where they are. But in the PSL also, if that's happening in the lower divisions, how are the guys in the PSL earning? Because it's on a scale. So if there's Lambili, what about these guys in the PSL? Imagine
that's where all the money is.
Imagine you're arriving as a PSL referee. You are earning 8,000 rand a game. You are having guys who are earning 50,000 rand a game here.
So more within 8,000 is little a game.
I'm not saying it's little. All I'm saying is scale it versus the bribe. If the club says to you, 100,000 rand on the table,
we should win this game.
Should I then lamb Mina just because Nina Funi came fair?
So I know.
There's a saying that says, don't bite the hand that feeds you, but if the hand that feeds you doesn't feed you, where does that leave you? You must ask yourself that question. Because people always complain about the referees. There's referees around the world. But why is it a factor here? And the thing is always, if a referee gives a penalty to you guys and you win, it's biased. But if he gives a penalty to the other team and they lose, no one's going to talk about it. So it's also, you take into consideration media, fans, all these narratives. But all I'm saying is, it's rife at the lower divisions. If you go down to the lower divisions, you've watched games like us. You've seen Mklo like us. You've seen a free kick turn into a penalty.
Things.
You've seen a corner turn into a penalty. You've seen a...
So, Mo, my question is, why not look at it this way? With maybe our referees need to be trained more.
But that's what I'm saying.
They need education.
That's what I'm saying. South African football is failing them.
Is there a referee academy? I think we've been talking about soccer academy, but is there a referee academy? Where do they get them? Do they pick them from?
No, they get their licenses. They get their licenses. But the reality is that
they go through training.
Training. I mean, I've heard stories about referee when we started David team and then they issue out games and they say, I must go ref a game at Davidson when you must come to Tembisa for a game. We are phone as in Milan na imaloki bela ngizengara. As in refa leo games or refa le yako.
Done.
Mawuqeda siyasayina kuma sheet sithumela kuSafa. Who's going to tell Safa that I was not there and you were not there? I-ref belikhona ngithi. Silibonile na ku ref.
Ama results are khona.
And the players don't know this is not tap. They don't know this is not sip. But the two ref bakakhona. U-ref game qedile, bhala score, bhala ama injury, bhala uyathumela. So At the end of the day,
Yeah.
there's so much of it that
It does feel like there's a lot that's happening in the lower tiers of football in terms of
there's a
refereeing.
lot happening. And the thing is, the chairmen are not heard. People in South Africa, like I said, South Africa has this big star thing where, we know the chairman of Pirates, we know the chairman of the Chiefs, we know the chairman of Sundowns.
Maybe Sundowns, yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll be right back after this.
Great run, he pulls it back, Rasmus Højlund, thunderous, it's an absolute net buster.
So welcome back. We were just talking about South African referees killing the game, or the game killing South African referees, and I was made my point. So I'm gonna finish my point if you guys are ready.
Yeah, okay, we will give you the platform. You can go ahead.
So I'm just saying that in the spotlight of the PSL, we'll always go according to how we feel as fans and the media and the perspective the narrative that's being pushed. But there's a bigger problem at the lower ranks of our leagues, because these referees are doing amazing things in the wrong direction. Chairmen, like I was saying before we took a break, is that a lot of us know the chairmen of the big three, Sundowns, Chiefs, Pirates. You will know the chairperson of Royal AM or TS Galaxy. But when it comes to clubs at the bottom in the second tier, no one really knows the chairmen there. So even though the chairmen are complaining, they're complaining to deaf ears. Because no one is actually giving them an ear to be able to say, keep on. Why are you guys failing to promote to the next level? Why are we going through PSL seasons of the same teams and the same teams? Unless every team by status is still going to be the same teams. The issue there is because these guys are trying their best to play their best football. But the way it is at the second tier is that whoever has the biggest pocket gets the biggest preference. We're not saying it's like that all the time. But those with the biggest pockets are having a good time down there. And it's not that every team that comes up is based on that, but most games are going that direction. A lot of chairmen are frustrated.
Because of big pockets.
I think if you ever want to do a horror story on football, go and sit down with the chairmen of the second division and the divisions below and ask them, how is it to play in the LX League? How is it to play in Tembisa? How is it to play in the what cluster? How is it playing out of the Northwest? Understand? How is it playing out of Northern Cape? We really care about what's happening at the top, but really at the bottom it's really rotten. And the thing is, that's why I said, if you don't bite the hand that feeds you, but if that hand doesn't feed you, where does that leave you? And a lot of these referees are behaving the way they do because now now you have to feed a family. Now you also have responsibilities on your shoulders. Are you really going to turn down a bribe just because of? We see it on our roads every day. Are you really going to turn down a bribe just because you want the best team to win? No. I don't think it works like that.
It wouldn't. I think we know of all those who drive out there, you know how it's like when you meet those brothers. Ecotrink is everywhere.
Those sisters.
Ecotrink is everywhere.
So imagine about the penalty 2,000. Corner kick, 5,000.
And Umashoni is for Imaliak.
Imagine. At that time, now I'm in second position. I can go to Netbank Cup. But if you want to go play Netbank, when I pay the money in lap.
Yes, no, thank you.
You want it yourself. Okay, number.
Those views expressed are by more.
Those are his views.
Those are his own personal views.
Those are my own personal views.
That's more for you, breaking it down for you.
But more on a serious note, just to add on what you're saying. I mean, a lot needs to be done with PSL. A lot has to be fixed with PSL. I mean, also look at these statuses being sold, teams not being able to compete with PSL, bans. Teams like Abu Royal M not being able to sign players, not being able to field players for your MDC. So a lot is going. It's beyond referees, but there's a major problem. I think in the whole sporting, not sporting per se, soccer,
but football, on the football scene.
Football, I mean, a lot needs to be done.
More certainly, I agree with you there, Diski.
Just as a rebuttal, I just want to say the reality remains very simple. That football needs to usher in a generation of people who love football. Because money can corrupt anyone. Not Singapore Malabati now is half a pattern for 3 months. Chiki says Kotli when not good this party half. Says via my ML. You know what I mean? But the reality is that money corrupts everything. And the thing is about football is that football it exists as entertainment. And that's why you were saying, Guti, showboating is not a bad thing. And that's why Ikasi football and our Phillies games is doing so well, because people want to be entertained. People want to see a whole team lie on their backs and then the other team go score a goal for no reason. People want to, you know, those are you know what I mean? Those are topics. People want to see players who will score 4 goals, then dribble the rest of the game. They don't care if this guy scored 3 more goals. Their job is done. We can dance and have fun.
Yeah.
Football is entertainment. And the business of entertainment does need somebody to make sure that everyone stays in line.
Yeah.
The characters that come and go in football, the sad part of it all is that not all the characters that leave on a good note. We care about you as a footballer now. You're the best. Tomorrow we are bench. We complain. Then maybe 10 years from now he's lived his life. People invite him to our clubs and say here's free alcohol, here's free this, here's free that. Some of his careers down the drain, we forget about it. And that's the thing about football. Football is entertainment. The characters in football are so quickly forgotten. Understand? Because what's giving you the fame is that platform you are on. That badge you're wearing on your chest.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of that badge,
the minute it's taken away, HI.
You're not bigger than the badge. And that's the problem with South African footballers sometimes, is that they sometimes feel that they're bigger than the badge. And that's because of the people they're listening to, the people in their ears. And the thing is, because of the way we structured this whole, this business, is that there's so many favors being done for so many people. You understand? If only we did it for the love of the game, if only we did it for people who are watching, you understand, it would get a lot better. You understand? The fact that for the longest time we use the same graphics for the PSL, you understand? There's more things that we're not talking about the PSL. But the reality is that if we really love this game, if we really want to nurture this game, we need to understand that we're a global player. We're not just a South Africa. Yes, you are the biggest fish in this pond, but out there you're a small fish. You need to make sure that you're fighting for us there, because the bigger you get out there, the bigger. Look at what happened once the CAF president was South African. You understand? There's a lot of change that has happened in South African football if you look at it, because of that one thing. And that's the thing about South African football, is that we need to get more bigger fish out there. Get these guys going, man. Get them out of the country. Export them.
No, we hear you more. We hear you. Those are the
even the referees.
You want us to export them?
Yeah, no, send them to also to Swaziland.
Okay, yeah, Kenya,
Namibia, Kenya,
Cambodia.
Europe, Asia. Guys, come on, just anywhere is fine. But
Yeah,
allow our footballers to make a name for them outside.
Yeah.
Understand? And also not from a biased perspective. That's all I'm saying.
Those are the sentiments of Fumo and uThisha weDiski. They are just telling it as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue with the conversation as we now take a look at the big game that's going to take place on the 1st of February. It's the Soweto Derby. Kaizer Chiefs, which one is going to be the home team? Orlando Pirates will be clashing against Kaizer Chiefs. uThisha weDiski, what are your thoughts on that game? I know we had a couple of derbies in the last year, that's 2024. What do you think is going to happen this time around? Because I think it's the first time that Nabi is going to be playing against the Orlando Pirates.
Look, whenever these two giants meet, magic happens.
Magic
happens.
So who's going to tell you the magic this time around?
When it comes to derby, you forget about history.
Yeah, because I know of the two teams, one of them is off form.
Look, I mean, if you look at Pirates, Pirates will go into that game favorites.
Yeah.
But remember, Chiefs lives for a derby.
Yeah.
I mean, if they go over to win the derby, the season is done for them. At least they know they've accomplished something. They've won a derby.
Yeah.
And Pirates, on the other hand, Pirates is frying.
Yeah.
Bigger fishes.
Hey.
And the one I remember when Mo asked a couple of shows, Soweto Giants, who are we speaking about?
Yeah.
I mean, the Pirates, they want those rights now. The Pirates,
We are
the Soweto Giants.
But if you look at the results that we're having so far, I think Pirates will and then Chiefs somewhere there.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Chiefs cannot even dream about competing with Pirates if you look at the previous form. But when it comes to derby, you forget about everything. But Chiefs can surprise you and win that game.
Yeah, I think it's still a lot of work. There's still a lot of work for Unabi and Kaizer Chiefs. uThisha weDiski. I've seen the couple of games that they played rather in the year 2024 under the leadership or rather under Unabi. Hey,
no,
not convincing.
Remember last year, Imakis. But when he calling cup against who?
Yeah.
Against Mamelodi
Mamelodi
Sundowns.
Sundowns, yeah.
If Sundowns was
Yeah.
to play Magesi, let's
Yeah.
say in a week's time,
So
will you
David-
put your money? Will you put your money on Magesi to win?
Yeah.
So it all boils down to on the day. On the day.
Yeah,
Or-
but nobody saw that one
yeah,
coming.
it happens. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It all boils down to that game.
Yeah.
You forget about ubani, unani, udlala nobani.
Yeah.
You just focus
you
on
know,
that
you know
game.
what my problem is with Kaizer Chiefs? It's their defense line. When they play against Orlando Pirates with the likes of Umabasa, Umofokeng, hey, uThisha weDiski. You were saying Kaizer Chiefs might win that game. Hey, I call it.
Look, I mean, if you're gonna break it down, you say defense line.
Yeah.
What is Chiefs' strong point?
Do they have any?
The branding.
The branding.
Manja winner.
No,
You guys already cancelled.
Mfethu, I wouldn't
Yeah.
know where to start if you
Yeah.
had to break down the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Chiefs is really struggling.
Yeah,
So I guess
it's
for
really
them, it's gonna
struggling at the back, struggling in the middle of the
Chiefs
park,
coming,
right at the
coming to a
front.
derby is
Yeah.
it won't be a matter of let's fix this and this. It's
Yeah.
about, hey guys, let's go out there
Yeah.
and do our best. I mean, we need this.
Yeah, uThisha weDiski. You know, there's a game whereby Orlando Pirates they beat was it Marumo Gallants 8.
Yeah, 8-1, I remember. Second last game of last year.
Hey, uThisha weDiski.
And Basop.
Yeah.
Paris can put that 8 again past Kaizer Chiefs.
Ah.
Remember what Sundowns did? Sundowns
Yeah.
were able to score how many? Was it 4, ne?
Yeah,
Previously it was 5.
it was 5. Yeah.
Hey, Paris can add that 4 and 5. It will score 9.
Yeah, what's your take on that, Mr. Mo? I think it's going to be a big game. It's going to be a derby on the 1st of February in Soweto when Orlando Pirates come across struggling Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah, no, Kaizer Chiefs is a different project altogether. I think if they came out to the public and said we are rebuilding for the future,
Yeah.
they
For the next coming
wouldn't
few
be
years.
worried about this.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be worried about the Soweto derbies.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue then also remains to say that if Kaizer Chiefs didn't have the early success they had at the start of the season, where they came in and they were getting results and people
Yeah.
were like, it's
Yeah,
weird.
no, it's
Only to
weird.
look back after 8 games and say, we're in the same place we've always been.
There hasn't been any change.
What happened? And the thing is, if you look at the team game by game, they look better. If you look at them for the season, they're still the same team.
Yeah.
So the reality is that there's a bigger project at hand. You know, if they really want Nabi to fix this thing, they need to give Nabi years.
Yeah.
Understand? They need to give
It's
Nabi
not gonna be
a
done
few
overnight.
seasons. You can't expect him to walk into a project like Orlando Pirates has been going on for six years or so,
Yeah.
and then say, no, go beat those guys with your 8-month project.
Yeah.
It's not the same project. Those players, for the longest time, you look at Jose Riviero when he came in, you look at the players he has now, it's not the same faces, majority of them. So you look at the players he's coming with, he's got 2 or 3. And some of these players, it's also a new project for them.
Yeah.
So you can't really say Kaizer Chiefs is at the levels of Orlando Pirates. Orlando Pirates has been doing this for years. Sundowns has been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Kaizer Chiefs need to understand that, hey guys, we are not as big as we think we are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're big as
terms of brand.
a global brand. Yes,
Yeah.
we get that.
Yeah.
But in terms of a footballing project, you're still very young. Because one thing about the carousel of coaches is that every coach that walks in buys players that suit his style. He leaves those players.
He leaves those players.
The next coach comes in, buys players that suit his style.
Yeah.
He leaves.
He leaves
Now, you have to make shift with the players that you have. And like I said, the issue with Man United and the current coach, you can't take centre backs that play in a back 4, play them in a back 3. You can't take midfielders that play with a single pivot, now put them in a double pivot. You're re-educating them about how to play football your way. Instead of working with what you have. If you look at how Liverpool recruited Arne Slot, they look for a coach with similar attributes to the coach they were letting go of. So that when he comes in, he doesn't need to change much.
Yeah.
All the players that are there suit his style already.
Yeah.
So what he can do is just fix here and there, here and there, here and there. And something that also...
I think that was also the same successful switch between Upito and Rulani.
Yeah.
I mean, they could relate in terms of how
they play a similar style of football.
Yeah.
So with Kaizer Chiefs now, you brought in a new coach. He plays a different style of football. You came from playing helicopter football. You're trying to play it on the carpet now, but you don't have players for the carpet.
Yeah.
Your players are still playing long balls when they should be playing short passes. They don't position themselves in such a way that short passes will connect. You pass him the ball, you space.
Yeah.
He's alone. He has to play a long pass.
You have to-
So a lot of it has to be with give this guy at least 4 or 5 transfer windows.
Yeah.
If you want him to fix the club. You understand?
Yeah.
He's not going to do it if you don't have faith in him to be there for at least 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at results-based football, if you're looking at he lost this game, he lost this one, then contra.
Yeah.
5 years from now, somebody else will be sitting in this chair having the same conversation about Kaizer Chiefs. And they still won't have a solution because changing coaches does not fix the thing. It's the one thing that is lacking. Do you as a club have a philosophy? Do you as a club have a plan?
Yeah.
Because the coach is just there to execute your plan as a club.
Yeah.
And your club, your plan cannot be, we want to win ICAF. That's not a plan. Your plan must say, this is how we're going to win CAF.
Yeah.
We're going to get this coach, we're going to get these players, yes, then we're going to get this brand of coaching staff, we're going to get this dietitian, we're going to get this doctor. That's your job as the club.
Yeah, we hear you, Mr. Mo. Just to round it up, wrap it up, weDiski. What do you think the scoreline is going to be between Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs? By the way, I think we're going to have a show for the derby.
Yeah, we're still going to have
when we get closer to those dates. But what do you think is going to transpire there in terms of goals?
No, I think
You've got one team that's got a very big scoring machine. Tisha weDiski, you don't want to commit yourself. Okay, not a problem. Yeah, Mr. Mo. Tisha weDiski, we are
4-3.
Yeah.
Who's going to score the 3 goals for Chiefs? I mean, I'm
who said the 3 goals will be from Chiefs?
4-3, Baba. 4-3.
You saying who's going to score the 3 goals for Chiefs?
Kaizer Chiefs.
So he's actually saying Pirates is going to win this game.
Yeah, no, it's 4-3.
Yeah.
It's 4-3.
It's
I don't
4-3.
know. I don't know who wins, but it's 4-3.
Okay, let's quickly move on to the next topic, guys. It was a big surprise when Magesi beat Mamelodi Sundowns to clinch the League.
Why was it a surprise?
It was a surprise because nobody gave them a chance.
So you must say you didn't give them a chance.
Maybe people gave Chipezeze a chance, but not Magesi as a team.
But also, you have to think about it this way. I mean, when you look at the way South African football is, at least we are still in a space where in the cups we play healthy football. There's no favorite in the cups. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. I mean, Stellenbosch got a cup.
Yeah.
Orlando Pirates got cups.
Yeah.
Magesi has a cup. So it tells you that it's not like the PSL where the league itself has been taken by the same team for over 6 years. You understand?
Yeah.
In the cups, we are a healthy country in terms of football because, I mean, if you think of it this way, in that game alone, you can risk it all. In that game alone, you can tell your players, guys, it's about you. Make your history, and that's it. I mean, how did we get
out of here?
How did we get acquainted to TS Galaxy?
Yeah.
Through a cup.
Yeah.
How do we get acquainted to Dance Malisela?
Yeah.
Through a cup. So a lot of teams, that's why a lot of teams in the lower divisions now don't really want a gun for
PSL league.
Yeah, for promotion through the leagues.
Yeah.
They want to now qualify for Nedbank.
Yeah.
So that they can play in the cups.
And win it.
Because a lot of times in the cups, I mean, look at University of Pretoria last year. I mean, I love that team because of what they were doing in the cup. So cup games are very nice because you're dealing with 2 factors. Number one, if you're playing against the Mamelodi Sundowns, they have a hectic schedule. They have one eye on the CAF, one eye on the this, one eye on the that. So why
straight.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's what exactly happened with Magesi on that specific day.
That's true. I mean, think about it this way. How much footage do you have of Magesi playing football before this season?
Nothing.
Not really much.
Yeah.
They come into a cup game against you. We can sit there and get DVD, slide the pants. It's okay, but the reality is that Chipezeze gave the performance of his life because he didn't have to worry about playing Bafana on the weekend or playing Cameroon or you understand. He didn't have to worry about CAF Champions League fixtures or having to play a vital game. Because I mean, for Mamelodi Sundowns, every game is critical.
Yeah.
Every game they play in the league, they can't sit in second.
Lose.
You saw how people lost their minds when Sundowns was in second. They're like, "Yo, the one's gonna end." So for these guys, they already worried about all these other things.
Yeah.
So you just come, you're like, "No, it's a funny cup in JS. I'll touch a cup."
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't actually respect Magesi's trophy. I mean, run to the final.
Yeah.
They beat big teams. That should have already told you.
That
should have already. You understand? They beat the Cup Kings.
Yeah.
So I told you, Guti, these guys are just preparing for this thing. They don't really PSLI.
And we can see that the Tisha weDiski, Guti, all Magesi wanted was that cup there because soon after that cup, they started losing games week in and week out.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest part, even the coach. Decided to part ways.
Yeah, or live on TV.
Yeah, which I thought it was a brilliant move for his CV because he knows it was after winning. I mean, beating Sundowns.
Yeah,
in that final. I mean, he's done it all. What more would you want from
Maybe Vele, his mandate was to win a cup for Makesi.
Exactly. I mean,
obviously they were not going to win the league.
I wouldn't even be surprised if Makesi gets relegated.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won the cup. They got the cup. And
don't
then that's
get
it for them.
relegated,
But
go and
also,
buy state.
I guess another topic that we must have one day. The cup itself, Carling Cup, with the fans having a voice, the weight of it. Like, what does it do for a team? How much does it weigh for a team? I mean, firstly, you have a cup like Nedbank Cup. You win Nedbank Cup, you know what you want to play in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
You win the league, you know what you want to play in Champions
Africa,
League.
yeah.
But you win a Carling Cup, then what happens?
Then you get the money.
No, but it is an achievement. I mean, the Carling Cup, it is especially for Makesi, it is an achievement because on their way to winning that, they beat some of the big teams.
But
they made a name for themselves. The last team that did that, I think it was TS Galaxy when they
But
beat
you look again, you look,
nil.
City Pirates, City Makesi, they beat the big guns. They beat Pirates.
Yeah.
Do you remember the game against Pirates where Makesi won 3-2? Pirates had like a so-called B team.
Yeah.
They didn't put their first 11.
Yeah, but-
Second half, when they did the substitutions, that's where Pirates was able to score goals.
Yeah, but
He
did they win the game
when
at the
he
end of the day?
When he sat down,
Yeah.
he played final against Makesi.
Yeah.
Remember, with 8 of their players were playing for Ibafana Bafana.
Yeah.
How much training did they get?
Yeah.
So they
Exactly.
got the Bakatele,
Exactly.
their hearts are not even there, like game league. So taking nothing from Makesi.
So Makesi will use that
How much is
weakness.
that cup? Yeah, how much is that cup?
I think from that perspective you've got it right but wrong. Because you must look at it from Magesi's perspective. It's an opportunity, Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
What can I beat him?
it's opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
What? Well,
Do you
think Sundowns was worried because they lost the cup? Didn't they
No,
worry?
but check this. Liverpool got beat 6-1 in the Carabao Cup when they were playing in the FIFA Club World Cup because the games were two days apart.
Yeah.
So Liverpool was like first 15 or 32 went to go play there. They played the kids against Aston Villa. Aston Villa chowed them 6-1. When you look at the opportunity cost, do you want to win a FIFA Club World Cup or do you want to win the Carabao Cup? In fact, you're not going to win the Carabao Cup by playing this game. You're going to qualify for the quarterfinals. Understand? So the narrative there is that Orlando Pirates had to worry about CAF Champions League. They had to worry about league coming up because they were first at the time.
Yeah.
With Sundowns, they had to worry about their players just coming back from the continent. From playing continental football. Then they have to worry about now they have this final and then they have a big game against, I forgot what team it was, but it was in the CAF Champions League. Teams will say, hey, if we get through, it's fine. You understand? But if your B team is not strong enough, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
It's a chance, it's an opportunity.
That's football. You always take advantage
but it's an
of
opportunity.
your
Yeah,
enemies.
true.
Your enemies.
I like how you use the word opportunity.
It's an
To
opportunity.
give other teams a chance.
For winning.
But
Maybe the Chiefs now.
But you see, if Chiefs had a footballing manager who was like, all we need at this moment is a trophy.
Yeah, we just need
We don't
a trophy,
care,
guys.
yeah. We don't even
We
care.
just need
Africa.
something to put in our cabinet.
You take those guys, you bench them in the league, you tell them, my priority.
Yeah.
Win any cup, nje. Instead of just making up cups and then going to win them in Bloemfontein and coming back.
I referring to the wooden cup. Was it the wooden cup?
I will.
I apologize.
Me too.
But all I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, sometimes,
but before,
football.
before we wrap it up, Tisha weDiski, I just wanted to find out from you, Kaizer Chiefs, after finally appointing Unabi. I know the previous season they failed to get him because they couldn't agree on the terms, but now they go to Unabi. Do you think he's going to be the right person to steer them to greater heights, or he's going to take a long time, as Umoy said, that it might take about 4 to 6 years to build that project?
If you look at CV Anabi, you look at Chiefs in its glory days, you notice that it's 2 different cultures. So if Chiefs want to rise again, go back to the Chiefs that we knew from 10 years ago.
So you are saying they've lost their philosophy, their type of play, they've just lost everything.
To be honest,
Chiefs now, it's just a brand, it's just a fence.
Yeah.
I say I call it Chiefs. We have to be honest.
Chiefs
is lucky. Chiefs is lucky that they have loyal fans.
Otherwise,
who
they
are
would have
willing to
left.
stick
with
Yeah.
them through thick and thin.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
But Amakosa aphela umoya.
For how long?
Yeah.
It's not a ball like Chiefs, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
I think-
Chiefs.
But Nabi is the one who's been appointed to make sure that they do the right thing.
On what? That's why Umo Ela, he said, if the Chiefs comes out publicly and said, guys, we're rebuilding, give us 5 years.
Yeah.
And we want to do this and this
Yeah.
and this. We'll understand, we'll give them the 5 years. But they're not saying that.
Maybe that's
so
what
the
they need
minute
to
they're not
do,
saying
yeah?
that, we're expecting results.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
the game at the start of the season, but we fixed it.
But it wasn't.
Maybe they need to come with a
we
plan
fixed
of
it.
action of a plan of action.
You know,
of how
here's
things
my
are supposed
prediction.
to,
Here's my prediction
take
for.
place. Yeah.
I've said this before, but here's my prediction for Kaizer Chiefs. In the next 5 years, in fact, after 5 years,
Yeah.
if they continue like this,
Yeah.
they're gonna sell to Red Bull. There'll be a Red Bull Soweto. And then Red Bull will come and say, hey, but you guys don't know what's in Rana Ganjani Shandis.
Na imali.
Nah, imali.
Yeah.
Sneaking it club, Red Bull's Soweto will move on from there.
Yeah.
The reality is that if they're not careful, right? Because there's so many moving parts in a business that big. It's a huge business. But the main thing is the football. People fell in love with the brand for the football. You understand? It's like Will Smith. Will Smith was a rapper before he was an actor.
Yeah.
Some people don't know him as a rapper. Some people don't know him as an actor. Chiefs itself as a logo, people know it for the football. People fell in love with it for the football. Now the football is suffering for the business aspect, from what we, us
See.
pundits and
Yeah.
we say. But the reality is that sooner or later, I think if it continues like this, Red Bull will buy them. And if not Red Bull, they better play it Red Bull. If it's not Red Bull, they'll just get another rich guy who's sitting in something, who's bored, who has a son who wants to play football.
Yeah.
Like,
Let me hear uThisha weDiski sentiments. Thisha weDiski, 5 years from today, Kaizer Chiefs. Umo is saying they might be bought. In actual fact, they might be sold. What's your take on that?
I mean, if they're not changing what
Yeah.
they're currently doing,
Yeah.
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Or they will be relegated, or if they don't get a buyer. Like,
No, I mean, it's relegated. Like I said,
Guys,
Chiefs will never be relegated.
Chiefs will never be relegated.
Chiefs will never be
Never.
relegated.
They rather add two
so
more
Banamatima
teams there.
21.
Chiefs will never get relegated.
Banamatima 21.
But why wouldn't they get relegated?
They can never get relegated.
Why would they not?
You must understand what Chiefs brings to the PSL is eyes. You understand?
Yeah.
They bring audience. They have a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the viewership of the PSL, I mean, when no offense to the other teams, but if a TS Galaxy is playing at Polokwane City,
Yeah.
how many people are actually watching that game? You understand?
63.
Versus if a Kaizer Chiefs is playing,
Yeah.
an Amazulu or
Yeah.
back in the day a Celtic or a Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
Chiefs, I mean, even at this point, a lot of people will say, "Guti, I'm a fans with Sundowns, I'm a fans with Chiefs." People will say some of the fans were Pirates, I'm a fans with Chiefs.
Yeah.
Just the change Makal.
Yeah.
But the reality is that what Chiefs brings to the league is very powerful. They bring audience, they
Yeah.
bring numbers. Now, for something that big to just fall apart, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's bailing happening behind closed doors. Who's about bail? Who's have a chance? The man lama, But the reality is that a team that big, that holds so much significance in South African football, can never be relegated. That's like you saying right now that Manchester United will get relegated. You understand? Everton almost got relegated, but they hold big significance in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So you have to look at those things and say, Chief, yes, it's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not bad to a point where we can say they'll get
They'll
relegated.
get relegated.
All I'm saying is, somewhere along the lines,
Yeah.
a big money offer will come.
Yeah.
And when it comes, they'll be exhausted of it.
Yeah.
You understand? Then they'll let it go. And someone else will come in and will make it work.
Take over.
Because how can you unless if we go back to my initial statement of saying if you did it once, it's magic. If you do it again and again and again, it's a science.
Yeah.
So maybe the science was with Uchairman.
Yeah.
Maybe now the chairman has lost his voice and now it's just magic.
Yeah.
If we win, we win. If we don't win, we don't win. You understand? Because if you look at them, they're playing promotional games by playing those cup trophies there on the side and winning them.
Yeah.
It's because they have an audience.
Yeah.
Kaizer Chiefs is the only team in this country where it can go anywhere.
Hey, yeah.
They can even go to Lesotho and fill a stadium.
Exactly. We've seen that happening.
We've seen that happening.
And well, we will come to the end of today's exciting show, the Diski Preview Show Roundtable. I would like to thank you very much for tuning in. And my name is yours truly, and Mr.
Mo.
And
uThisha
uThisha weDiski.